Let's lock in. What does Martin Bakole need to do to get his fear factor back? The number one thing Martin Bakole needs to do is show up in shape. His biggest argument for why he got sparked out in the second round is going to be short notice. He didn't have a full camp. He wasn't able to get prepared and get in the type of shape he needed to compete with one of the best heavyweights in the world. So to prove that was the reason, or at least to support an argument that that was the reason, he needs to get in really great shape for his fight with F.A. Ajapa. Then he needs to spark out F.A. Ajapa. If he shows up heavy, if he shows up, because he weighed in clothes, so they're saying 315. It wasn't like he weighed in his sneakers, jeans, a hat, and who knows what he had in his pockets. He needs to be well under 300. And he's a big guy already. So when I say well under 300, he needs to weigh in the 280. He needs to weigh in the 280 range or lower. And then he needs to go and spark out F.A. Ajapa. If he does that, he will regain some of his fear factor back, because a lot of people are going to be like, okay, this man showed up over 300 pounds. Although he had on all those clothes, if you ask me, he probably weighed like 305 or something like that. Or maybe a little heavier, 308, 305. But he needs to show up in shape. He needs to show up in shape, and he needs to do a job on F.A. Ajapa. So that way it can support his argument. And he, even if he's not the one making that argument, people around him are. His team is. And to be honest with you, anyone who's being objective knows that it's not ideal to take a fight on short notice. Not saying you have your skills, but you do need to prepare your body to go through that battle and for a grueling 12 rounds. And he wasn't expecting to fight on February 22nd. He was expecting to fight in May. And I'm a firm believer that athletes should stay in shape, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. No one's saying you have to be training like you're in camp, but you need to be going to the gym and maintaining. So it's not that hard for you to snap back into peak physical condition. But he obviously didn't. For him to get that fear factor back, he needs to show up in shape. He needs to spark out F.A. Ajapa. And then after that, he needs a fight against someone who the boxing world respects. And he needs to spark that person out too. I'm thinking for Martin Bakole, Ajit Kabayel, that's looking like a good fight to me if he can beat F.A. Ajapa, because Ajit's been taking out some of these so-called boogeymen, and Ajit can add another one to the list. But in my next video, I have an even bigger fight for Ajit Kabayel, and I think this fight could benefit both parties. The fight that I'm going to name in the next video. But for me, Martin Bakole, he can gain his fear factor back if he shows up in shape and he sparks out F.A. Ajapa, because that will legitimize the belief, the excuses, and I don't even want to call it an excuse because it was a reality. And I respect Martin Bakole for taking his chance. I do believe Martin Bakole felt like if he didn't take this chance, he didn't know the next time he would have an opportunity to prove himself on that stage. But learn from Martin Bakole, young upcoming fighters, or even just in your everyday life. Just because an opportunity comes up, and if it's going to put you at a huge disadvantage and you're going to have to be perfect to succeed, it may not be the best opportunity. And you may want to wait until you had the ability to gain the skills and to be confident and give your best, that the impression you leave, the work product you put out is a best representation of who you are. And if that's not going to be the case, then sometimes you don't want to take the risk. But I respect him for it. But if he wants to get his fear factor back, show up in shape, spark out F.A., and people will be talking again. Like, this is the Bakole we know. This is the Bakole we wish we got to see in the ring with Joseph Parker. Hell, spark out FA and call for a rematch with Joseph. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. Listen, for those who comment, I appreciate it. I try to get back to everyone. I have a lot, because I have a career plus family, a lot of things going on, but I try to get back to everyone. As far as the likes, if you hit the like button, it does help get this video out to more people, and it helps grow the channel. And also the podcast. The podcast numbers are great, so I know a lot of people have been listening and tuning in through the podcast. And for those who do that, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for rocking with me. I'm out. Peace.